What happens to your retirement accounts when you die? Most people assume their IRA or 401k just automatically goes to their spouse or kids. But the reality is a little more complex and sometimes a lot more costly if you get it wrong. I'm Kerry Green, financial advisor and co-founder of Green Era Financial, and I help people close to or in retirement to get the most out of life with their money. And in today's video, we're going to talk about what actually happens to your retirement accounts when you pass away, how to avoid some of the biggest mistakes, and what your loved ones need to know so they aren't hit with an unexpected tax bill or big legal headache. When you pass away, your retirement accounts, like a traditional IRA, Roth IRA, or 401k, don't automatically go through your will. Instead, they pass directly to the person listed as the beneficiary on the account. That's why having an up-to-date beneficiary form is more important than what your will says. The beneficiary form overrides your estate documents when it comes to these types of accounts. So if you forget to update your beneficiary after a divorce or remarriage or death in the family, the wrong person could end up inheriting the account. Now, if your spouse is the beneficiary of your IRA, they have the most flexibility. They can treat the IRA as their own and delay taking RMDs until they reach age 73, which can be a big deal. Or they can roll it over into their own IRA and combine funds to make things simple. Or they can keep it as an inherited IRA, which follows beneficiary distribution rules. This might be useful if the surviving spouse is younger than 59 and a half and wants access to funds without an early withdrawal penalty. This flexibility allows the surviving spouse to structure withdrawals in a way that fits their financial plan and tax situation. For non-spouse beneficiaries, like your children, grandchildren, or a trust, the rules are different. Under the Secure Act, most non-spouse beneficiaries must empty the account within 10 years of the original owner's death. This is known as the 10-year rule. But here's the nuance. Whether or not annual RMDs are required during those 10 years depends on whether the original account holder had reached their required beginning date, RBD for short, before death. For 2025, the RBD is April 1 of the year following the year the account owner turns age 73. It gets pretty complex. So, if the original owner died before their RBD, there are no annual RMDs required, just a requirement to empty the account by the end of year 10. Whereas if the original owner died on or after their RBD, the beneficiary must take annual RMDs in years 1 through 9, and the account must still be emptied by the end of year 10. And every dollar withdrawn from a traditional IRA or 401k is taxed as ordinary income. That could push your heirs into a much higher tax bracket if they're still working. Now, if the inherited account is a Roth IRA, the same 10-year rule applies, but qualified distributions are tax-free. Just keep in mind that the Roth IRA must still meet the 5-year rule for earnings to come out tax-free. And if the original Roth IRA owner had met the 5-year mark, the beneficiary typically doesn't have to worry about taxation. So it's all a little bit confusing. There's so many nuances and rules. So here are a few common mistakes I see frequently on this. One of the biggest mistakes I see is failing to name a beneficiary at all, or naming the estate as the beneficiary. If your IRA or 401k goes to your estate, it usually has to go through probate, which can delay distributions, increase taxes, and reduce privacy. Another mistake is not updating your beneficiaries after major life changes like marriage, divorce, births, or even deaths. It only takes a few minutes to review your forms and make sure they still reflect your wishes. And finally, some people name minors as beneficiaries without setting up a proper trust or custodianship. This can trigger legal complications and court oversight that you may not have intended. Retirement accounts can be one of the largest assets that you leave behind, but without proper planning, they can also become one of the most confusing and costly. So here are some next steps for you. Double check your beneficiary forms today, not tomorrow. Make sure they're coordinated with your estate plan, especially if you have trusts and other estate planning documents in place. And lastly, talk to a professional if you're unsure about the legal or tax implications of your current setup. A few small decisions now can save your family thousands in taxes, delays, and stress later on. Now, if you would like help reviewing your retirement accounts and making sure your legacy is set up the right way, you can always feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help if I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.